Charles grew up an active member of his church, and his family has been a part of this congregation for generations. At the head of the family, Charles's grandma.
She is a strong person. She's the boss. Still today, she is the boss.
And when Charles lets his enthusiasm boil over to win a basketball game or make his feelings known, his family says they know where he gets it.
Gets it from his granny.
He got that from my granny. She's like that. She says something first, then she apologizes for what she said, but it's the truth.
When he gets kind of fired up, they say he's like me, and that's about true, because I'll be good if you let me be good, and I can be nasty if I have to be nasty. So he got some of my good ways and some of my bad ways.
She says the fans don't always understand Charles. He's a competitor and is usually very hard on himself, but always tries to be honest.
He's an honest person. He really is. You know, sometimes he should keep his mouth shut, but, you know, he hasn't gotten to the stage that I have reached. I used to be just like that.
She doesn't miss anything. You can't get over on her.
At an appearance on the David Letterman show, Charles talked about the time his grandma helped to negotiate an agent's contract.
And I fell asleep in a meeting around 8 o'clock. And my mother goes to bed around 8 o'clock. And when I woke up around 1 o'clock in the morning, my grandmother was still negotiating with my agent.
She just inspired me just to whatever you do it the best. I mean, when I play basketball, I really, really want to play well, and she inspired me to do that. And something I carry with me every day.
And I'm still there for him. I can't get to all the games, but I know that he can feel me in his prayers, because I always pray for him, and I know that the good Lord looks out for him.
And she hopes the fans in Phoenix will also support her grandson.
The only thing I want to say to Phoenix, to love him and be there for him, because he loves you all and he'll be there for you all. He comes to win every night. And we're going to be a winner this year. When I say we, I'm talking about Phoenix.
It was one of the events designed to help kick off our 63rd Phoenix Jaycees Rodeo of Rodeos. A group of media and local celebrities first rode a mechanical bull, then got on the real thing, which is much more dangerous. The professional cowboy knows just how dangerous bull riding can be. This is former world champion Charles Sampson from Casa Grande. He's been riding for more than 20 years. Still, he has broken almost every bone in his face, along with countless other life-threatening injuries.
But whenever you're dealing with bull riding, it's just some way it's the way people fall and the way they hit. It's just it's hard to make it completely 100% safe. That's why it's one of the most dangerous sports in America. But I really feel for Connie and hope she's feeling better down there. And just you know, we've all went through it, and I'm sorry to see it happen to her.
As you can see, when that bull left that chute, she left a little behind. She didn't move quite forward quick enough. So get forward.
Unless you happen to be a forest creature, wearing furs isn't very popular anymore. But this could be the answer, a very real-looking fake.
I ran across the furs and thought, people don't know this is available. And I sent out for the furs and took a look at it, and I was astounded at the quality.
Mary Connor and Kathy Rogers took their fashion design and sewing backgrounds, pooled their efforts, and came up with Furs Deluxe, a line of fakes so close to the real thing you have to touch them to tell the difference.
We took our fur samples and went out and compared them to real furs in the stores, and even like 2 feet away, you could not tell the difference. You can definitely tell the difference in the hand once you're feeling both kinds of furs, certainly. But up till then, no.
They're thinking imitation, they're thinking what they've seen in the store, they're thinking about what they make the kids' Halloween costume out of.
Right, the fun fur, like the pink and green zebra stripes.
Well, this isn't it. The full-length furs will cost $500 to $600, lots less than a real one. They also have a line of imitation leather, although a skirt might cost you $100, and you could find including the fur has one big advantage. It's completely washable, so no dry cleaning bills.
So in that respect, you're saving that ongoing investment that you put into a real fur coat. Probably get 4 of our coats for the price of 1 real fur coat.
So if you don't want to spend the money on the real thing, you might consider faking it. whether you want to make a political statement or not. Marianne McClary, 12 News.
This is the latest rage in Southern California health clubs, country cardio. Aerobic instructors may find themselves resorting to new ideas like this just to compete with exercise videos.
Yo, come on, move this. Shake that body. Shake that body.
Jane Fonda revolutionized the video industry back in 1982. Since then, more than 1,500 videos have been made. More than 30 are released a month.
I've used like Buns of Steel and an old Jane Fonda one. Kathy Smith, and I use Jane Fonda videos.
Motivation is the key to any exercise, whether you're working out in a class or to a video. But with an exercise video, you have the advantage of working out when you want, how you want, and in the privacy of your own home.
It didn't take long for celebrities to cash in on that need.
The message we should be giving to young women is you know, to love yourself and to accept things about yourself, not to run out and pay a doctor.
Supermodel Cindy Crawford is just one of a dozen stars who are hoping buyers will put faith in a familiar face. Shape Your Body is the hottest selling exercise video, but it's also the most widely criticized.
And even though it looked really nice and it kept your attention more, you don't know what you're doing to your body as much.
Hands are just to help you with your stability.
The moves are unsafe. There are exercises that we stopped doing years ago.
But not all celebrity videos sell on name value alone.
Look at my knees. They're not coming over here.
Kathy Smith's 11 exercise videos have sold 5 million copies, and each is a bestseller. But unlike Crawford, Smith has become a celebrity because of her workout videos.
What sets you apart from everybody else?
It's the care that I put into my videos. I really care about it. I mean, I sit up and think about it late at night, thinking safe quality videos that are really going to be liked by people out there, and I think that care shows through.
Kathy Smith, Cher, Cindy Crawford, Jane Fonda, and Richard Simmons are all listed on Billboard magazine's top health and fitness videos. But the best sellers aren't necessarily the best. Fitness experts graded exercise videos. The scores were based on safety, form, and how well the techniques were explained to the viewer. Here's how the top sellers rated. A-, Richard Simmons, Sweatin' to the Oldies. B, Kathy Smith's Step Workout. A, and Jane Fonda's Step Aerobic and Abdominal Workout. A-.
Now, few tapes were able to earn perfect scores, but let's face it, not everyone reads Shape magazine, and you can't always judge a video by its cover. So if you're headed to the video store in search of a workout, here are some tips on how to buy the best video for you. Try to rent the video before buying it to see if it works for you. Try to stay away from star-studded videos unless they already have established a credible reputation for themselves. Ask around at your gym or read fitness magazines. Do your homework before buying. And finally, you can also get a free subscription to the Complete Guide to Exercise Videos. They also have consultants on hand to answer questions. We will repeat this address a little later in our newscast. But remember, the best rule is to be buyer aware, and good luck. Catherine Anaya, 12 News Extra.
Replay of the 10 o'clock news. I saw the story and I got to thinking how many times I've heard about stuff like this and said, gee, I ought to do something.
What he wants to do something about was the van load of baseball equipment somebody took. All the gear for the kids' games. Old, scruffy practice stuff left behind. But without the game, have a Little League season.
Absolutely killed me, yeah, because it's pretty sad, really, that somebody would take Little League equipment.
It tore up the kids, too, but of course, big guys, ball players, don't get emotional.
You know, when somebody takes that away from me, you know, it's like taking something out of my heart. I love baseball. So, you know, they're just ripping my heart out.
Bruce Moody played ball as a 12-year-old. His dad coached, became a paramedic, then a DPS officer. Today, he dispatches 911 emergency calls. He's seen it all, heard it all, and obviously, he feels it all.
I think that's what hit hardest is they're going to be on the streets. They don't have any place to go, and in my job as a 911 dispatcher, I'm on the other end of the phone calls of the kids.
For dispatching calls for help, but Moody says he'll kick in enough money to buy new equipment.
I guess the league starts Monday. If they can get the equipment, they'll be off the streets, and maybe that's one less 911 phone call I'll have to answer.
And you can't find a better reason than that. Bill Stahl, 12 News Today.
The dream is what you buy.
Hey, I got a winner here. Winner, Joe?
Even if it's not the big one.
What'd you win? $2, a big 2.
Just up the road at the Fort McDowell Gaming Center, many people believe their odds are a bit better than playing the lottery. And most here don't see a difference.
I won $4,000 on this baby.
Bob Weisker bought a lottery ticket on his way out here.
What's the difference whether you buy lottery tickets or put $1 in the machine in there? It's all the same to me.
That's the multi-million-dollar question being asked by Arizona's Indian tribes.
Gambling is gambling is gambling, whether it be the lottery or dog tracks or horse races, it's all gambling.
I think they should let them have it out here on the reservation.
But polls show many Arizonans have their doubt, including Republicans in the House and Senate who voted with Governor Symington to ban casino gambling statewide.
We want gambling that doesn't swamp the state and completely change the climate of the state. But really, we were never opposed to limited gambling, including casino gambling on Indian reservations.
And many Arizonans are sitting on the fence.
I think there's a lot of points that the governor makes that I think are very valid, but yet I also feel for the Indians too, so I don't know. It's kind of it's just awfully complex. It's not a simple thing.
But those who like games of chance say gambling is gambling, just as gamblers will always be gamblers.
I'm certainly not going to give it back to them, I'll tell you that much. I still got it right here.
It's fast food, but it's a lot more than burgers and fries. This is the Express Cafe on the campus of Metro Tech in Phoenix. The cooks are high school students learning the culinary arts, and because they're learning, your lunch bill is low, even for some of the most expensive things on the menu.
Stir-fry chicken or grilled snapper. Grilled snapper's $3.50.
What would you pay for that at a restaurant?
In a restaurant, you're going to pay $6.95, $7.50.
The highest price thing they have is $3.95. Is this a good deal? Well, even the high school students who usually don't have any money think so.
Oh, yeah, because they get real good food for real cheap.
And Tony knows what he's talking about. He's one of the chefs in the making. The food he makes is from scratch with fresh ingredients. And now he knows this is his calling.
No, I didn't know what I want to do for a long time, and then I just came to school, and I liked it, so that's what I'm going to do.
And like any lunch counter, this one has regulars who eat here.
Every day we can. When they're closed, we're crushed. It's a great bargain. I encourage everybody to come down and visit us.
I think the prices are really excellent. You can go to fast food and pay the same, but you don't get the service.
And that includes one of my favorites, homemade clam chowder in a bowl made of sourdough bread and a glass of iced tea.
It's going to be hard to be disappointed having lunch at a place like this. The food is great, the service is fast, but one of the best things about it is going to be paying the bill.
Marianne McClary, 12 News.
The Mogollon Rim territory is land that thousands of Arizonans have explored, but none of them have ever had an experience like Travis Walton.
It was so terrifying, so difficult for me to talk about that I'd just break down if I even tried.
It's a story that many have said is the most believable ever told about an alien encounter. We went to northern Arizona, where Travis and his friends say it all happened.
You know, it was like we stopped the truck right here, and there was an opening, and it was on that side of the truck. The truck was facing this way, and there this thing was, you know.
Hey, what the hell is that? That's one monster forest fire. That ain't no fire, man. Well, what do you think it is, then? Stop, Mike! Stop the truck!
I wanted to get a closer look, you know. I thought it would be gone in a second, and I missed my chance to see what this thing looked like up close. I was just kind of bent down behind a log, kind of like this, hiding from it, and then I just raised up to go, and just as soon as I, you know, kind of straightened up before I could actually turn, I just felt this numbing shock, it's like a physical blow hitting me. And they said it just sent me flying through the air.
When I saw him hit the ground, these guys are yelling at me to get the hell out of there, and I left.
They came back later and couldn't find him. A major search was launched, and yet no luck. Walton says it's because he was already aboard the spaceship.
I thought I was in a hospital at first, but it was only when I could finally focus my eyes and see these things standing over me that I just flipped out and panicked.
5 8 days later, he reappeared, dropped off, he says, by the aliens on the highway to Heber. Was the story of a UFO abduction of Travis Walton nothing more than an elaborately conceived hoax? Well, that's what many people back here in his hometown of Snowflake, Arizona thought, including the chief of police, who, although he's now retired, remembers those days very clearly.
I always believed that Travis would show up. I went to see if he was home, and his mother, who was on a friendly basis with me, always very cordial, she wouldn't allow me to come in. Very distinct impression that that's where he was. I felt like the story was done for personal gain, for financial gain.
He's going to try to help us
And
out.
while Walton stands to make money from the movie, he says those kinds of claims don't hold up.
There are people who have undergone all sorts of odd experiences, you know, whether cannibals in a plane crash or whatever, you know, and nobody's saying you ate those people just so that you could make a movie, but, you know, I think that this is 18 years after the fact, and, you know, I think that's kind of a weak argument.
Who are leaving Washington like rats off a sinking ship, or raising the concern over pedophile priests, Benson has a bite.
Sometimes we're insensitive, certainly we're irreverent, we're sarcastic, and we try to point out that no one is off limits.
But today the attention was focused on Benson, only the second Arizona Republic staff member ever to win the Pulitzer Prize.
Can we get a frame for this? I want to hang it in my office, all right?
But Benson says it's easy when you live in Arizona.
I've had colleagues of mine say, I'd give my firstborn child if I could come to Arizona and just cartoon for a day.
In addition to being filled with cartoons, Benson's office is filled with all kinds of things he's picked up over the years, poking fun at one person or another. But the thing that probably describes Benson best is this, right here on the glass. If the press doesn't make a lot of people mad, it isn't doing its job.
Well, it goes without saying Ev Meekin was a maid in the shade for a cartoonist. The Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill debacle, in which I came down squarely in favor of Anita Hill's credibility, also provided for some fireworks. Rose Moffat and her Dairy Queen hairdo, or hair don't, whichever you want to call it, is great material.
Benson's cartoons, like this one poking fun at former President Bush's battle to turn the economy around, are syndicated in more than 200 newspapers around the country, which means there isn't really much time for celebration.
The future is I've got a cartoon due in about 3 hours. Thank you very much.
The only question is, who will he pick on tomorrow? Rick DeBrule, 12 News.
I don't like it at all.
And I feel sorry for the people here because now they don't have a team to come out and support during the spring.
Says, where the heck is Peoria?
Despite the shirt, everybody in Yuma knows where Peoria is. It's where the Padres will be next spring instead of in Yuma.
It's out of my hands. Those are decisions I don't make. I show up where they tell me to show up.
When the Padres leave, it'll cost Yuma about $5 million, including some of Bob Lewis's money. Bob drove in from Pacific Beach with his wife for the final game.
It's probably good for the team. I don't know. It's not good for us. We're going to miss them.
Next spring, the Padres will save money by being closer to their Cactus League competition in the Valley. But for many in this small community, it is politics, especially Maricopa County's rental cars for the new Peoria Sports Complex to lure the Padres away.
No, it cannot be done here because we just do not have the tax base.
Well, money talks.
Trying to put together an organization that's going to be not only profitable but successful.
Padres, but for many of the folks who come to these games, this is another example of how baseball is a business, baseball teams are a product, and how in Arizona, the rich, the urban areas, seem to get richer, while the rural areas of the state get minor league treatment. In Yuma, Lou Ruggiero, 12 News.
These are the most common images of teens on local television.
Alarm engine 205.
Subject is down in the street with a
Random street violence, usually gang-related.
Now, we aren't asking you to never show negative stories about youth, but we are asking you to please include more positive stories.
At a morning press conference, organizers of Arizona Teen Hall gathered to lobby the media on teen issues. Students like Tamika Stukes warn that teens sometimes end up living the stereotypes they see in the media.
Like that, and then they start busting back.
We invited Tamika, an Iowa Freya Jr., and Rob Cantwell, a Brophy Prep sophomore, to take their concerns directly to Channel 12's newsroom.
It tends to have an effect on the self-esteem, and I think kids are starting to lose a sense of ethics because they see it so often.
Morning news anchor Ron Hoon says there is positive coverage of teens, but not enough.
And you have to wonder, by putting that on the air over and over again, does it in fact prompt other teens to maybe copycat some of the things they're seeing on the news? I hope not.
5 o'clock news producer Sue Green is next.
We put more stories on teens, and not just the negative things like gang violence or gun control or stuff like that, but like...
Green agrees, but points out that positive events are often missed because the media never hears about them.
You know, so it's a matter of you guys picking up the phone and saying, hey, you know, we're doing something that we think is really positive today, and we think it'd be really neat if you could come out and you know, cover it for us.
A question for Special Projects producer Julie Frizzoni.
There could be a teenager on staff your time.
You know what's going on out there, and I think it'd be a great idea, and we definitely are looking at doing something like that.